I watch esports all day. Meh. Welcome to my channel. My name is Allday, or AD for short.
Lol.
If you wonder who that was, it is Richard, my AI co-host. Do not pay him too much attention. Richard's language was programmed from Twitch chat.
Cringe lol.
For this channel, I will do previews and predictions, recaps, personal top 5s, comedy skits, and much more.
NA production.
The majority of the content will focus on Valorant, but I hope to cover other esports later down the road in the same fashion. If you like the content, please be sure to like and subscribe. Today we are making the NA VCT Stage 2 Challenger 2 main event predictions. I will add other regions later on, but for now I'll be focusing on North America to keep things simple.
Same intro, Pepe laugh.
One of the goals for my channel is to build an interactive community. Please post the top 4 teams you believe will make it to the Challengers final in the comment section below, and I will highlight the winners in my recap video after the weekend. Exact seedings are not required to be highlighted in the recap video, only the 4 teams you think will advance to the Challengers final. In this video, I will start with a recap of my last predictions, also do a bracket speed run to my predictions this week, potential matchups to look out for, and we'll end off the video with Richard's Copypasta of the weekend. However, if you have ADHD like me, I've included timestamps below for you to skip ahead to the parts you are interested in. Now, on to the recap. So last week we did have some predictions in the Valorant competitive subreddit and the YouTube comments.
Feels good, man.
Unfortunately, no one to be highlighted this week as no one had T1 winning over FaZe for their predictions.
Sag.
Looking at my previous predictions, I made 2 correct predictions, Sentinels and NRG. T1 and TSM were the predictions I got wrong. TSM I'm not too surprised about. I did mention in my previous video that the match against Gen G would be close and it could go either way. T1 on the other hand surprised me. I think most people had FaZe winning against T1, including myself. Especially after that Bayern performance, I expected T1 to be tilted, but they put that map behind them and convincingly beat FaZe on split. So good job T1 to reset the mental and get the win.
Has the schmeeg come to an end?
Possibly, Richard. Only time will tell. And that's it for the recap. Now on to the bracket speedrun for the predictions this week. So for the first opening matches, we had T1 versus C9 Blue and Sentinel versus Andbox. For the first match, I predict T1 to beat C9 Blue, especially since C9 Blue recently made roster changes and reverted back to the 6-man roster by dropping Relics and picking up Floppy and Zeppa. It is possible for C9 Blue to be in a honeymoon phase and win, but for my prediction, I'm going with T1. And for the second match, I have Sentinels beating Andbox.
Yep.
For the later matches on opening day, we have Immortals versus TSM and NRG versus BBG. Now, Immortals versus TSM is probably the best match on opening day, in my opinion. The last time these two teams faced, Brax was playing instead of Hazed, and TSM were limited by Immortals and lost to them 2-0. For my predictions, some people might not agree with this,
Pause champ.
but I have TSM beating Immortals.
Cap.
A lot of recency bias in this prediction, I know. TSM looked a lot like their former self this past weekend. This match can definitely go either way, so if Immortals win, I will not be surprised. But for my predictions, I'm going with TSM. For the second match between Energy versus BBG, I think Energy will prevail and move on to the upper semifinals.
Okay, lol.
Alright guys, and for the rest of the bracket, I'm going to speed up these predictions just a little bit because some of these matches might not even happen. So for the losers bracket round 1, I have C9 Blue beating Andbox, and I have Immortals beating BBG. For the upper semifinals, I have Sentinels beating T1 for that first match. For the second match, TSM versus NRG, that should be a banger in the match to watch if it happens. And if it does, I predict NRG to beat TSM, but it's going to be really close.
Cap. They don't miss.
True, he didn't miss last weekend. And moving on to the second round of the losers bracket, we could potentially have C9 Blue versus TSM and T1 versus Immortals. Both really good potential matches that can happen if the bracket goes how I predict. For that first match, I predict TSM to beat C9 Blue, sort of for the same reasons I stated previously. in the C9 Blue versus T1 match. The next match between T1 versus Immortals is hard for me to predict,
Cap.
and I'm honestly on the fence.
Not like this.
But I have a gut feeling that T1 will beat Immortals.
The Pega predictions, too much recency bias.
True. A lot of recency bias in the predictions for this week, and I think a lot of people will disagree with them, and for good reasons too. But I'm sticking with these predictions. So there we have it, folks. These are the teams I predict to make it to the Challengers Finals: Sentinels, NRG, TSM, and T1. Please post your predictions in the comments below. Placements are not needed this week, only the 4 teams you think will advance to the Challengers Finals. Richard, what do you think about my predictions?
Crash Omega lol. These predictions would have been good in 2020.
True. I'm actually living in the past this week. Now, I'm just going to finish off the rest of the bracket here. So, for the upper final, I have Sentinels beating NRG, and then TSM to beat T1 in the losers bracket, and to beat NRG in the losers bracket to face off against Sentinels in the grand finals for the rematch everyone has been waiting for since the 2020 Phase Ignition series. And if that happens, I predict Sentinels to win.
Actually scripted lol.
And that's it for the bracket speedrun. Moving on to the potential matchups to look out for. For the 2 starting matches on the first day, I would watch T1 versus C9 Blue over Sentinels versus Ambox. There's a great storyline being created between T1 and C9 Blue. T1 has consistently beat C9 Blue in some crucial stages in the past qualifiers. C9 Blue have also made significant roster changes, so it'll be interesting to see how they perform. For the 2 matches later in the day, TSM versus Immortals is the match to watch. Immortals eliminated TSM in the last qualifier when Brax was playing. Will TSM be able to get their revenge with Hayes back on the roster? Watch this match to find out. Moving on to the first round of the losers bracket. According to my predictions, we could potentially have C9 Blue versus Ambox and Immortals versus BBG. I would personally watch C9 Blue versus Ambox to see if Vice, the former C9 Blue player, can beat his old team.
Monka W.
For the upper semifinals, I would watch NRG versus TSM because I think it will be the more competitive match. For the losers bracket round 2, it all depends on your preference. Both of these matches should be good if they happen. Personally, I would watch T1 versus Immortals. And that's all the matches to look out for, as all the other games will happen at different days and times. Now, on to Richard's copypasta of the weekend.
Phase is fantastic, they just need to work on communication, aim, map awareness, crosshair placement, eco management, pistol aim, op flicks, lineups, pop flashes, positioning, post plants, retakes, spray, skills use, control, and getting first bloods.
Oof, chat can be rough sometimes. Anyways, that's the end of the video. Please don't forget to post your predictions in the comment section below. Also, thank you to everyone who posted their predictions and feedback on the last video. I truly appreciate it.
Wide people happy.
If you like the content, please be sure to
Like and subscribe. Peace out.